all come to this happy place, welcome.
What is it about Disney that makes us happy? Is it the magical whistle as your ticket is scanned at the main gate? Is it the seafaring smell of pirate water? Or is it charting a course to a land where you may never grow up? Whether it's singing a familiar song, watching a movie, or riding your favorite attraction for the 100th time, Disney undeniably has a way to warm our hearts, believe in magic, and bring joy into our lives. This is Main Gate Magic, a podcast where we break down and discuss the infectious happiness, delight, and thrill of all things Disney. Hello and good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, July 16th, the day before Disneyland's 69th birthday. I am your host, Jason Braden, and my co-hosts are with me as well. Say hello to Lisa and Mimi. Hello, ladies. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
And Mimi's got a little bit of a lag tonight, but we're going to try to push through it the best we can. And also joining us in our studio is our special guest and friend, Mr. John Morris, the voice of Andy from Toy Story.
Hello.
Hello, John. How you doing?
Doing great.
Great. Thank you so much for being on the show today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Yeah. I met John, I think probably, I can't remember if you were at the first MouseCon I went to like maybe 3 years ago. I think you might have been there.
That sounds right,
And
yes.
yeah, and I think I got your signature and your autograph there. That's when we first met, and many MouseCons later, here we are. So, we're friends on Instagram now, and we see each other at future MouseCons and social media posts here and there. And I couldn't resist but ask to have you on the show because I think you got such a great positive energy to bring to this. So it's very 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 big treat to have you on. So I have to say a couple of things before we get started with the Q&A and everything like that. First of all, we've got a couple of comments in here. Mimi's mom is on and says hello, and that there is a thunderstorm happening right now. Is that true? Thunderstorm.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be why we're having some trouble.
Oh, yeah. The weather could definitely be a factor with the lag. And we're waiting. There it is. Okay. We'll work through it. I promise we will get through this. No problem. So our usual fan that is here normally every single episode, Patricia, is not able to join us today. She was so kind and so sweet that she actually sent me a message on Facebook Messenger saying, I'm sorry I can't make it. I've got another Zoom call, but I'll watch the recap and everything. And I'm like, she didn't even have to say anything. Oh. But she's been at every single one of our episodes. We're only on number 14 right now. But, I mean, she's our number one fan. And she felt like it was necessary to actually say, sorry, I won't be there. So I just loved that. I had to give a shout out to Patricia. And then Brandon Diaz is on, and he says, hi, guys. Hi, Brandon. And then, of course, the only other thing that I had to mention is that tomorrow, July 17th, Disneyland actually turns 69 years old. Congratulations, Disneyland, for having another birthday.
Yay!
We had that, John, I don't know if you heard, but we actually had that as our prior discussion topic on our last episode, and it was a lot of fun. We talked about the history of all the different Disneyland birthdays and the milestones they celebrated, the themes, shared experiences. People were talking about their visits to Disneyland. I even got a photograph, and dang it, I'm thinking about it now, and I totally forgot to put it on here, but I got a photograph from my Aunt Susan, who had a picture of her husband, Dexter, which is my dad's brother, my dad, and their sister, Linda, at Disneyland from 1957, I think, is when he said it, or she said it was taken. And I don't think I've ever seen my dad so young. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of my dad at Disneyland, like, ever. I mean, he's at the point in his life now where he calls it Dismal Land. Sorry, Dad, I
Yeah.
know, but it's the truth. But I just thought it was amazing, and it put a huge smile on my face to actually see him at the happiest place on earth, even though he doesn't call it that anymore.
Oh.
I know. Oh my
Aw.
gosh. Brandon has already got questions in the chamber. He says he has 4 questions. All right, Brandon, we will definitely get to you. And Kim says hello. Hello, Kim. How you doing? Glad to see you on the show.
Hi,
Um,
Kim.
So we're going to get to your questions in a minute, Brandon. If you want to go ahead and start loading them up in the chat, we'll get to them in just a moment. But first, John, why don't you go ahead and talk about yourself for a bit? Because that's the reason why we have you on here, is to kind of give us a little bit of a background about who you are, where you came from, and what are you known for? You've done a voice or two for some Disney stuff. Why don't you go ahead and talk about that real quick?
Yes, absolutely. So I was born in the Bay Area, and I grew up in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. And when I was 6 years old, I took an acting workshop called
Wow,
Kids
it's
on
6.
Yeah, 6 years old.
I'm sorry, what was it called?
Kids on Camera.
Okay.
It was called Kids on Camera. And as you can imagine, we learned how to be on camera. But also, it was more than that. We learned, we did little theater monologues. We did some voiceover. We did, some like narration, and it was really a great kind of immersive, workshop, especially for a 6-year-old. And at the end of that, there was kind of talent showcase for agents, and I booked an agent. And then everything started happening really fast because I just started auditioning for things, and I was lucky and was booking things. And then came along the audition for Andy in Toy Story.
Wow.
And so it honestly, I had done a few on-camera commercials, and then I had done a few other little things, and then came this audition for Andy in Toy Story. And so
Okay.
it was probably my 5th audition.
Oh.
Yeah, something like that.
Like
And
ever?
yeah, like ever.
Wow.
And I just was kind of getting started. And for that audition, they asked us to bring our favorite toy to the audition. And I wanted to bring all my X-Men figures. And
this is one of the things that I have loaded in my canon because I kind of heard
yes,
about this story before. Go ahead,
yes, it's
please.
kind of a fun story. So I had about 20 X-Men action figures in a case, and my mom said, "Okay, but you need to bring one to the audition." And I said, "This is one. This is a set."
Right. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, like I have to bring the whole case. I have to bring, this is one. It's X-Men.
Right. Yeah.
And so, I couldn't pick. I had to bring Storm and Wolverine and Professor X and Gambit, etc. And so I brought them all in, and the Pixar creative team just kind of burst out laughing because I just like opened the case and dumped them all out on the floor, and then just started playing with them. And I started, creating the voices, and I really just got wrapped up. And then, subsequently read from the script, and there were callbacks, and then they later told me that, that's really how we envision Andy and how
So
he plays with his toys.
You hadn't even really started your audition yet. You were just playing with your toys.
Yeah, I was just playing with my toys, and they were recording. They just started recording, and I was just creating the voices, and I was just in the world, just like I would be in my room, playing with my toys.
Right.
And
Of course.
yeah. And then they, later said, well, that's Andy. And then there's the opening sequence of Toy Story, which is Andy playing in his room with his toys.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That is exactly how the
Awesome.
movie starts off. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. So even though you weren't technically auditioning, you really were auditioning, but you didn't even know it.
Right. Exactly. Well put. Yeah. I didn't really feel the pressure because I was just having fun,
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. We We have some technical issues on Mimi's side. She just sent me a text because of the thunderstorm. Their power just went out. That's why she dropped out of the podcast.
No.
So
Talk about storm. No. Okay. Sorry.
yeah, I know you brought it into the universe. You spoke
When
it
I
into
said
existence.
that, I know.
I know. It's your fault, John. I'm going to have to blame this one all on you. This will definitely go on the highlight reel. Well, okay. Well, Brandon's already got his first few questions lined up. Before I go, and I'm going to scratch off the one about the toy army that you brought in. So that's done, because I did have that in my list of things to talk about, but you already covered it. All right. So Brandon's questions: favorite Toy Story film?
Oh gosh.
I guess
Of course.
There we go.
Of course, I love them all. I think I have a little bit of a soft spot for Toy Story and for Toy Story 3. Toy Story because it's the original and it was groundbreaking in its own way.
Yes.
And Toy Story 3 because of especially that final scene with Andy and Bonnie and how emotional it was for me to record, and just how meaningful that scene was and how beautiful the script writing is. And yeah.
I get chills even thinking about it. It makes me all soft and mushy inside.
Oh, good. That's what it's supposed to do.
It is very much supposed to do that. Yeah. Way to go, Pixar, for making us cry even more.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Another question from Brandon. What are your buzz, or both?
Oh gosh. All these things where I have to choose.
Yeah, you had to choose in the movie. I mean, I know it was scripted.
I know.
What about you?
I think, again, I feel like going back to the original, I have a little bit of a soft spot for Woody because he was Andy's first favorite toy, and he was the first one in the prize position, on the bed. And yet Buzz is very cool.
Yes.
One of Andy's lines is Buzz Lightyear, the coolest toy ever. So, he's really cool. And we all know what that feeling was like growing up of getting a new cool toy.
Yes.
So I have to say both.
Okay.
Say both.
No, that's a completely fair answer. Because, Woody's the original. He's the OG cowboy, right? But then Buzz has got that thing on his head that goes whoosh. And that is a line from the movie. He's got that thing on his head that goes whoosh.
Exactly.
Welcome back, Mimi. I think there's probably still a little bit of lag. Yeah. I'm glad you got your power back so quickly, though.
We have a generator.
Oh, wow. That's perfect.
Nice.
Thank God. All right. Next question from Brandon again. Aside from Woody or Buzz, who's your favorite in the gang? And I'm guessing that's inclusive. Well, let's just say that's from Toy Story 1 through 3, because more people or more toys have joined throughout that period.
Oh, gosh. Another one where I have to choose. Another one where I have to choose.
Didn't know it'd be this hard, did you?
I'm gonna say Rex because he's also like one of my mom's favorites, and I'm really close with my mom, and so I just I feel biased, I guess, and just that he's nervous Rex, and just Wally Shawn did such a brilliant job. Everyone does a brilliant job. All the toys are amazing. But, if I have to pick just one, I feel like we have like a family soft spot for Rex.
I like Rex too. He plays video games. I play video games.
Yeah, exactly.
We get it.
Yeah.
And he he's always trying to beat that level boss that he just can't get at the end, and
right.
I know that struggle. The struggle is real,
We've
Rex.
all
I mean,
been
we
there.
all feel you. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Even Lisa. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure Mimi is too. Yeah.
And poor guy, he's just nervous and he's trying to do his best, and
right.
you kind of just relate with him too.
Yes,
yeah.
I do.
But with the help of the toy family, he finds his courage, he finds his roar, and yet he's still pretty cowardly.
Yes, yeah. So there's just a
think
lot of layers there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think I could take that kind of rejection.
Yes, exactly.
I just love it.
Exactly.
So actually, I'm going to kind of lead that into one of the questions that I had for you was, when you were doing this originally, I mean, I know how voice acting works. You go to a studio, and there was no pandemic back then, thank God. But did you record by yourself all of your lines, or were you ever in a studio with other actors that you could bounce off of? Maybe even the one that played your mom or something like that.
Yeah, so I always recorded individually. That being said, of course, director or directors were always there, and oftentimes the producers, and then oftentimes the script writers too. So there were a lot of people there to, help me bring it to life, so to speak. Especially with the first Toy Story, when John Lasseter was actually like in the booth with me because I was
Oh,
7
wow.
because I was 7 years old and I was so little, and it's like, what, I'm recording this character for this movie, and so he really helped me feel comfortable and helped kind of set the stage, set the scene. That being said, for Toy Story 3, I recorded part of that at Pixar, but then I also was living in New York. And so I had back-to-back sessions with Laurie Metcalf, who plays Andy's mom. And so I did get to see her. I got to see her a few times because she was on Broadway. So it was kind of like I'd be leaving and she'd be coming, or vice versa. And so I at least got to talk to her for a second, and it was like an Andy's mom moment, which was nice.
Right.
Yeah,
I had totally forgotten that she played the mom.
Yeah. And
was she the mom for all 3 movies as well?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so that was nice just to be able to kind of interface with her a little bit, even if we weren't recording together. Yeah.
What about any of the other characters? Did you ever eventually see them on maybe like red carpet events or anything like that?
Yeah. So at the premieres, I got to talk to some longer than others, but got to at least say hi typically. And then typically we would take like a cast group photo at the premiere, and so that's everyone gathering together, and then go in to see the movie.
Well, I noticed that when you mentioned one of the actors earlier, you didn't say Wallace Shawn, you actually said Wally Shawn, if I heard correctly.
Yeah.
So do you have some kind of like close relationship with him at all, or was it just what he said, hey, just call me Wally?
Like that. Yeah, that's
yeah.
And also that's how oftentimes others refer to him, and so it's stuck in my brain that he's Wally Shawn. Yeah. But yeah, so it's kind of a spectrum in terms of what's going on and who's arriving when, but I did get to have at least a few moments, I think, with each cast member at some point. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, Brandon, question number 4. Now, he said he had 4 questions, but he lied to me. There's another question even after this, and it's another favorite.
A bonus question.
I know. So number 4 is, have you ever met or heard of Carrie Walgren? I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Carrie Walgren. That's a familiar name, but I'm sort of having trouble placing a face to a name.
Let's see. We're gonna look her up real quick.
Yeah, that's a very familiar name.
And it's a very familiar face.
You've met her?
Then maybe you can describe.
At a convention a long time ago.
Maybe you can describe who she is. I'm pulling up her IMDb right now. What is she known for? I see a lot of voice acting stuff. Kung Fu Panda, Rick and Morty, Teen Titans, DC Superhero Girls. A lot of voice acting stuff.
Oh, okay.
Well, Brandon, if maybe you can provide a bit more information of who she is, or maybe how we should know her, then that'd be fantastic, and I'll go ahead and read it out once you do. And then the final question that he's got here is...
She's an awesome voice actor. Has done a lot of stuff.
Favorite of Bonnie's toys? It's okay.
Favorite of Bonnie's toys? I think I like Mr. Pricklepants.
Yes.
The best.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, again, everyone did a brilliant job. Everyone's brilliant. But I just, I usually kind of lean towards the ones that just make me belly laugh, and Mr. Pricklepants makes me belly laugh.
Because he's so theatrical and
Yes,
so
he's so
dramatic.
theatrical and dramatic, and I've studied Shakespeare, and I get that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Baby, do you remember which character that was?
Yes.
Yeah, so why do
Hedgehog.
you like him, though? Yeah, I was
'Cause
going to
he's a
say, because she has
hedgehog.
a different reason for why
Yeah,
she likes it.
that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
She's a big hedgehog fan. She
Oh,
I
loves
nice.
love
hedgehogs.
them. I love
Nice.
Yes.
them.
If it wasn't illegal in California, we'd probably have one crawling around the apartment right now, actually. But we did
Sure.
go shopping for one once. I'm not going to say where or how, but yeah, we went shopping for one once just to kind of
Oh,
see.
it was
And
legitimate. We were in another state.
I know, but you were talking about getting one and bringing it home with us, and
Well, you know.
yeah, I
But I
know.
didn't.
You know.
I didn't. I said, it's not right, because then if, heaven forbid, somebody finds out about it, they would unfortunately euthanize it, and I didn't want that to happen.
Heck
Oh,
no.
yeah.
So,
Heck no. Yeah, they are cute. I can't lie, and she knows that I like them too, but I just not legal, unfortunately. Plus, I don't think they'd go over very well with our dog and cat either.
no.
So how many other kids auditioned for Andy? Do you know, were you kind of like first in line, and were you one of the first to be chosen, or
I
was
think,
there like hundreds others before? Because
I think if
I know how
memory,
it can be like that sometimes.
yeah, I think if memory serves, it was about 100.
Oh wow.
I
Okay.
think, yeah, I think I need to, I'll double check that the next time I talk to someone from the team. But I think it was kind of a big pool, because they wanted to cast a wide net. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just a reminder, folks, I see a couple other people on that haven't asked any questions. If you would like to just say hello or ask a question of your own, please feel free to pop it in the chat. So were you around the same age as Andy was throughout the film history as you're growing up? Like, Andy's maybe like, what was he, like 8, I think, in the first film? Was it 8? Or I can't remember what birthday it was.
Yes. So I was always a little bit older than him
Okay.
in real life, which actually served me really well, especially in the third one where I had just finished college and
Oh.
Andy was off to college.
Right.
Because
Okay.
then when the director, Leon Critch, said, "Do you remember going through your room and packing up your toys?" I said, "Yes, I do." And I could, draw on that experience. And I knew what that was like to leave high school and go to college and become an adult and such, or start
Okay.
that process. So yeah, so always a little bit older than Andy. The only tricky thing was with Toy Story 2, my voice had already changed when I went
Yep.
to record Andy. So I just had to kind of pitch it up a little bit and just get back to that slightly younger sound, and then we were there and it was fine.
Do you think that the
Yeah.
voice you have now is kind of what you had back then when you had to pitch it up?
Yeah, it was, I easily can go back to Andy in Toy Story 3.
Uh-huh.
Even
Mhm.
now, it's harder to go back to Toy Story 2 and Toy Story. Sometimes fans ask for lines from those movies, and I do my best, but especially Toy Story. I mean, I was so little.
What do you think, ladies? Should I put him on the spot?
Wow. I
No?
mean, I don't know.
How do you, okay, or do you feel comfortable? You want to give it a shot?
Sure. I mean,
Okay.
knowing that I'm almost 40, okay? So just
It's just a number, John. It's just a number.
I know. But things happen biologically. Yeah, so I guess, well, I could just say a line from Toy Story 3,
Yeah.
a line from Toy Story 2, and a line from Toy Story.
Oh, wow. I wasn't even going to go that far, but you pick what you
Sure.
want to do, and let's
And then
start with
knowing
Toy
it's
Story
not
3.
going to
Yeah.
sound exactly like, Andy
Of
at the
course
time.
not.
But
I don't even remember what I sounded like when I was younger, because
Yeah.
I feel like I've always had kind of a deep voice.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Got to step into the Andy shoes.
Yeah, pick a line, any line.
Okay. So we'll start with Toy Story 3, we'll go to Toy Story 2, we'll go to Toy Story.
Sure.
Now, Woody, he's been my pal for as long as I can remember. He's brave like a cowboy should be. and kind and smart.
God.
You're gonna make me cry.
I'm choking up here. Gosh.
That's the
Because
third
I know
one.
you're talking to Bonnie right there. You're
Yes,
giving her. You're
that's
giving your
right.
toys to Bonnie. Oh my God.
That's right.
Okay.
And then the
No
second
more
one.
sad. No more sad lines.
Okay,
Okay.
no more side ones. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
The second one. Bye, Woody.
Oh yes, he's
Remember?
getting dumped
Yeah.
in the garbage in his
The
dream. Yeah.
the dream sequence, the dream nightmare sequence. Okay, and then the
Okay.
first one. Oh boy. Okay. Pizza Planet. Wow, cool.
That's pretty good.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
Top
that
tier.
that was absolutely wonderful. We have to give you a round of applause for that
Oh,
one because and the Oscar goes to John Morris for Toy Story
Oh my
1,
God.
2, and 3. I even have
Well,
the
he has a
music.
lot of
Hold on
great
one second.
lines that really.
See, there we go.
brilliantly-
All right, enough of that. Sorry. It's my Academy Award music. It's the wrap.
I
it
like
up
the
one,
sound
though.
effects.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
We try to keep smiles on people's faces. That's what it's all about, right?
and it's
Now,
No
always-
wrinkles,
remind me,
just
what
smile
year-
lines.
What year did Toy Story come out?
Toy Story came out in 1995.
Okay,
95.
so
Wow.
I just happened to, for a weird reason, over this weekend, because I was home alone, and I was like, you know what? Let me start asking what were like the top movie of the year, and I started in 1980 because I
Oh,
was
that's
looking for a
cool.
movie to watch, right?
Yeah.
And Toy Story was the movie of the year.
Yep.
Yay!
Pixar's premier motion picture event. That was huge.
Yes.
Yeah,
They had,
so
they had
20.
had.
Yeah, go on.
No, please go ahead.
I was gonna say, so 2025 is the 30th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Which
30th
is-
anniversary. Wow.
Yeah.
30 of Toys. Good Lord.
I know.
I have been doing my full-time job for way too long now. I'm officially going to say that because I remember when Pixar was actually going public. Now, I work for a company that helps take companies public. They print and file documents with the SEC and stuff like that. That's as much as I'm going to say because the rest is really boring. But I remember working on the artwork for it and seeing the Toy Story spreads and the Pixar campuses and the little lamp, and everything. And I remember Steve Jobs actually coming to our office and giving final sign-off on the artwork. I just can't believe that was almost
Oh, wow.
30 years ago already.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, wow.
It's unbelievable.
Okay, I need to shake that one off because I'm going to reminisce way too much on it. Okay, so Brandon is saying back to the question of, let's see, what was her name? I already lost the name here. What is it?
Carrie.
Carrie, yeah, Carrie
Walgren?
Walgren.
Yeah.
Didn't really say much about let's see, she also has a brand name, Slaughter, a tribute to her favorite band Slaughter. Oh, okay, that's cool. And another thing that he said is that she's a really nice and sweet person like John.
Oh.
But actually, no, if you go back a couple of comments, he did say she was known for.
You are
and
correct.
a lot
Thank
of them,
you.
Yeah, a lot of them you did happen to mention when you looked her up on IMDb.
Yeah, so let's give her
okay.
credit where credit's due here. She's known for, Brandon says she's known for Rick and Morty. I mentioned that in Kung Fu Panda Legends. I think Legends of Awesomeness, that's the one that he's mentioning. It was like a series, maybe, on a streaming service, maybe Hulu or something like that, or even, I don't know where they stream that stuff. I don't know what FLCL is. DC Superhero Girls, I mentioned that. Samurai Champloo. And Ben 10. I know Ben 10. Our kids used to be into that. I remember that.
Yes.
So most likely, Brandon, we were probably at an event together. However, I'm usually at my table for most of the event, and I don't always get to talk to everyone. But she does kind of strike a chord or a bell. So I think maybe at some point we were at a similar event. Yeah.
That probably might be the reason. It might be the reason why he was asking for sure.
Yeah.
And not only did he say that she's nice and sweet like John, he also said, like John, she is a top voice actor.
Top
so you are
voice
also a
actor.
top
That is
voice
so nice
actor.
of you. Thank you. Wow.
Definitely. And thank you so much for contributing to the chat, Brandon. These are great questions. I love it. Keep them coming. Okay. So next question on my list here is you were not only the voice. You haven't just done one voice your entire life. You've done
Right.
more. But when you were little, still, I think probably around the same time as Andy, maybe even before or after. I can't remember now the year that The Nightmare Before Christmas came out. You were also a character in that movie. Why don't you go ahead and talk about that real quick?
Yes. So The Nightmare Before Christmas came out in 1993. And so I actually was recording that at the same time I was recording Andy. But that being said, I only recorded Santa Boy in The Nightmare Before Christmas, I think for one day. It
Uh-huh.
was like a 1 day recording session. And it was for Santa Boy, the little boy who he's the first boy that Jack meets when he gets to Christmas Town. And he's the one who holds up the head when his
Yes.
parents ask, "What did Santa bring you, honey?" And
Right
he just
before they
has,
scream.
yeah, and all he says is Santa, Santa. That's all he says.
Oh, that's
and,
right.
and
Yeah.
he runs down the stairs. And so it was just a very kind of brief recording session in San Francisco. But that being said, it was really fun because um, it was like with a lot of other kids were there doing the additional voices, and it had a great director, and Tim Burton was involved. And so I remember it being a very fun, creative day, and we got to see all the little, claymation figures
Oh, that's
and
cool.
so yeah, so that was very, very cool. And so, recording Andy took many weeks and months,
Sure.
but then recording Santa Boy just took one day. The funny thing to me, though, is going to Comic Cons and events now, is sometimes people come up to the table and they go, "Oh, that's so great, you were Andy. Let's talk about Santa Boy. Let's talk about the Nightmare Before Christmas."
Oh, really? Wow,
Yep,
that's
because
cool.
because they are Nightmare Before Christmas people, and they
Uh-huh.
are just into, that genre, and the fact that it has like a cult following, and the fact that there's the Haunted Mansion takeover, and
Yes.
so it's just so interesting that they're like, "Oh yeah, Toy Story is cool, but let's talk about Nightmare." Um, and it's just really interesting. And so I have Nightmare things at my table because some people are really interested in that.
Well,
Um,
and that's a
yeah.
great talking point too, because if they don't know that you were in it, they'll be like, "Hey, why do you have the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff on here?"
Yes, yeah, and then sometimes people come up in cosplay, Nightmare cosplay, and it's cool. So it's fun, and I love the movie. I mean, as a viewer, I love the movie, and it's really the only, I think, animated film that's kind of 50% Halloween, 50% Christmas. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's really has that interesting blend. Um, yeah, so
I,
it's really
I
unique.
still feel like it's more of a Halloween movie, but it's because I'm a little biased. I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday out of the year.
Yes,
Yeah, and
it
it kind of
is.
starts in that space, and that's where Jack
Yes.
lives, and yeah, the others live. Yeah, yeah.
And the songs are incredible, and
Yeah, the
the
songs are
sets and the
so good.
characters. I mean, it's like Tim Burton just basically dissected his mind and put it into a movie. It was
Yes.
just so beautifully done. And actually, I need some positive energy out there for whoever is listening. I need somebody to help me will it into the show. But Chris Sarandon is actually going to be at GalaxyCon in San Jose coming up in August. I just found this out on the last convention I was at up in Stockton this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I'm going to be like somebody that's part of an invitation to go there. And if not, I'm definitely buying a ticket because him and I think Jodie Benson is going to be there. Just so many other Disney characters. I can even go down the list because there's like probably at least a good 7 to 8 people that I'm like, I gotta tap them on the shoulder and see if they would like to be on here.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and he was so brilliant as Jack Skellington, and
Yes.
of course, many other roles. Prince Humperdinck from The Princess Bride, Jerry Dandridge from
Yes.
Fright Night.
Yes.
Just even the detective from Child's Play. When he was fighting Chucky for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I have a picture. I don't know if it's going to go well if I just hold it up to the camera,
it
but this
might.
is when Jason and I dressed as Jack and Sally
Oh yeah,
for
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
Halloween.
Oh.
so
showing.
cute.
Yay!
I loved doing that.
I love
I'm
it.
kind of like a very burly Jack,
Yeah.
but
And we
the
even
chess
have
piece.
Zero.
And you have Zero. I was gonna
Yeah,
say I
he's
see
he's
Zero.
floating in the background. Yeah,
Oh, that's
the
great.
the
Yes.
chess piece was like had this like foam thing that kind of filled the top because Jack is very, he's
It's like
kind
he's
of like
taking
a
a
big.
deep breath.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. I think it was to accentuate his rib cage because he's a skeleton, but yeah, I'm like I didn't need that padding in there.
Well, and what's crazy is I actually wore that costume on the BART.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's right, because you took
what
it to
you know
work.
what
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, nice.
I always
Yeah.
dress for
Yeah,
Halloween
the
and
the
ride the
Nightmare
BART.
cosplay is very fun, and
Yeah.
Oh,
also,
yes.
yeah, also just I feel like a lot of people have cool Nightmare merch, and I've seen Nightmare tattoos, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that would be
hmm
fun.
hmm
So, how much of a Disneyland? Do you ever go to the parks at all? And do you like going to the parks? Is it something that you do regularly at all?
I love going to the parks. I probably go like 2 times a year, something like that.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Yeah, and I recently was there for Pixar Fest,
Oh, so
Oh,
and
we
was
were
I.
there.
We were there.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
I was there. Yeah, there at the end of April for Pixar Fest. I loved Pixar Fest.
Yeah. It was
I
really
Yeah,
fun.
it was really fun. I loved the kind of Pixar takeover, and got some of the merch, and I loved the popcorn buckets, and I just thought they did such a great job, and I also I got the opportunity to be able to kind of like ride everything, which I've never done before. I mean,
Oh,
where I've
okay.
ridden kind of everything over 1 to 2 days. And so that was really, except for Incredicoaster, which I'm intimidated by.
Really?
Okay.
Not much of a roller coaster guy?
Well, mainly because people kept telling me if you don't have your head back when it starts, you get kind
Uh-huh.
of like a whiplash situation, and it just kind of scared me. So
Oh.
yeah, you could get a little like boom. And so
Yeah, it's
I
not that
just
bad though.
okay, well I'll do it next time. But I just
Yeah.
people kept saying that, and I was like,
Yeah, I
um,
mean, even what is his name? Dash. He's the voice that comes over the speakers as you're ready to launch, and he
right.
says something about like, all right, heads back, and
Okay,
hold on to
okay,
your hats or whatever, something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. And then
okay,
he does a countdown 3, 2. So he reminds you, put your head back before
okay.
it goes
Very
into the
good.
launch.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but you know what? I will tell you though. I will give you a warning. If you do go next time, that's really not what you have to remember. What you have to remember is at the very end of the ride, there are 2 hard, and I mean hard stops on the train. There's a
Oh,
hard stop when you first break out of this helix. It's like this really tight turn that really pushes you into the back of your chair,
okay.
and it's right where they take your picture as well. But it stops really quick there. But then just when you think that you've stopped once and you're like, oh, okay, now we're just going to coast into the station, there's another one that's even harder than that, and it jerks you forward into the shoulder restraints. And if you're not prepared for it, it hurts.
Okay, good heads up.
Yeah,
Yeah, and also I know it goes upside down. So
just once. Yeah, just
okay, so if
once.
you have quarters in your pocket,
It ain't going anywhere.
No, okay, good, okay, good.
Yeah,
And
centrifugal force takes care of that, thankfully.
we also, I'm also a Star Wars fan,
Yes.
and yes, and I mean Galaxy's Edge. I have no words.
Right. It's
it's just so
amazing.
it's amazing. It's immersive. It's just phenomenal, and especially Rise of the Resistance.
Yes.
It's like you're in the movie, and so I just kind of every time I leave that ride, I'm just like I can't talk for like maybe 5 minutes because I just need to process what just
It's
happened.
jaw dropping.
Yeah.
I've never been on anything like it. I've never been. I mean, I've
Mhm.
not been like around the world per se, but I've been to a few amusement parks here and there. Some with some really great rides, but that is
Yeah.
probably the most immersive ride I've ever been on in my entire life, easily,
Right.
hands
Right.
down.
Yeah, and especially the fact too that there are the cast members, as part of the experience in
Yes.
Right.
character, and I mean, I remember I first rode it in at Walt Disney World, and it's like, oh my gosh, and we drop into space. It's mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love, I mean, we've been on it a few times now and we know what to expect, but I love watching everybody else's reaction,
Yeah.
Mhm.
especially when you get inside the shuttle, you
Hmm.
fly off the you fly in air quotes off the
Hmm.
planet, and I'm trying not to spoil us too much here,
Right.
but then the doors open again and you see what you see. I'm not going to say what you
Right.
see
Yes.
just in case
Yes.
anybody's listening and they've
Yes.
never been on it before.
Right.
You're like, wait, what? how
Right.
how
Sort of
did
a full
we?
body chills moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
other moments like that throughout the ride. I'm going to say it's kind of like it's almost like a Fight Club kind of ride. And I'm going to say that because in Fight Club there was that, wait, what just happened? What have I been watching this entire time? Who are we actually watching here? It
Hmm.
was that big surprise, and that is not the only one. There are several moments like
Right.
that in the ride where
Right.
people are
Right.
just caught off guard. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't expect it to do that."
Right. And
Mhm.
it just keeps unfolding. And it's,
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
And
It's
yeah, absolutely.
amazing.
And
Yeah.
you were right
Amazing.
about
Really.
the cast members too, and I know this is the reason. Well, at least one of the reasons why Disneyland calls them cast members.
Hmm.
Even before Galaxy's Edge, they're not really like employees. They are on a stage. You know,
Hmm.
they're
Part of
they're
the experience. Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
exactly
Performing.
depending on what
Right.
land you're in, and Galaxy's Edge is no
Right.
exception.
Right.
And when you get to that part of the ride and they put on their, I'm gonna say, resting bitch faces, that's probably like the worst word ever said on this show, and they start having the British
Yeah.
accent with the Imperial Guards, or what, not the Imperial Guards, the First Order,
Yes.
Right.
and they're all serious and everything. How many in your
Yes.
party?
And you feel in trouble. And yes.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I loved it.
I mean,
Yeah.
they almost get to
Yeah.
be mean to you, and that's got to be a fun job, right?
Right. And it's always an interesting mix too of like folks who have been on it and who haven't, and so seeing people react and respond, I always find interesting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple more from Brandon here. Fun fact: Carrie worked with Jodie Benson on The Little Mermaid 3. That's pretty cool.
Oh, very cool.
I think I saw a
I know
TikTok
that.
yesterday. Did you? Still got a lag? Still got a lag.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I saw a TikTok yesterday where Jodie Benson was sitting in the audience somewhere. I don't even know what it was for because they didn't describe it enough in the captions for this particular video, but evidently her daughter was
Mhm.
performing as Ariel
Mhm.
and singing Part of Your World. And I was like blown away because she sounds so much like her mom when she sings, and her mom was in the audience and she was standing right next to her when she started singing and everything. And like she started right from the beginning, like, I don't understand how a world that has such incredible things could be bad. And then she started singing, and her mom, you could tell she's like so proud and everything.
Yeah.
So it was a neat moment.
I saw that too, and that must have
Yeah.
felt very full circle for Jodie.
I
And
would
yeah,
think so.
talk
Yeah.
about full body chills. Probably that
I
Right.
know.
was her
Totally.
experience too. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I got a couple more questions before we go to. We're getting actually close to the end already. I can't believe this
I
is
know.
flying by
It's
as it is
flying by.
always. Brandon says, "What are your thoughts on the movie Lightyear?" Did you see it?
Lightyear, I really enjoyed.
Mhm.
I know it was kind of its own thing,
Yeah,
Mhm.
for
and
sure.
I really like Socks, the
Mhm.
cat. um,
Socks was a good character.
I
Yeah.
thought Socks was great, and I know there was a little fan confusion with the voicing and everything. I enjoyed it, and you know, I thought it was an interesting kind of, I guess, spin-off in a way. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Not necessarily the toy version, but what if Buzz was real, kind of a thing.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
just an
Mhm.
interesting like kind of origin story spin-off. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
So, what's life been like since Toy Story and everything? What have you done since then? And what are you got anything like coming up that you want to talk about, or anything that's in the pipeline you want to discuss, or that you can discuss?
Yes. So I am, still a professional voice actor, and I'm still auditioning, for a lot of different projects. I am excited about an upcoming project with Adventurous Ideas. It's called it's called Extinguished Worlds, and I'm really excited about the character that I'm playing, and the script writing is really great, and I'm excited to start recording that in the coming weeks or months. And I also teach voiceover. So I teach voiceover on Zoom. I teach voiceover workshops in person. I teach adults. I teach younger artists and students. And I've really been enjoying that. And I've been doing that in San Francisco. I've been doing that in LA. And then I've been doing that everywhere on Zoom. And it's been really fulfilling for me. And a lot of the students have said it's so great to have, a sounding board, if you will, from someone who's been working in the industry for more than 30 years. And it's also really nice, like when fans come up to my table at events and they say, I really want to be a voice actor, or I'm an aspiring voice actor and I can create these characters. I can tell them, you could meet with me on Zoom and we could talk about this further and I can help you and we can look at scripts and characters. And so that's something I'm really enjoying. And it just helps me keep voiceover really present and voice acting really present, especially between auditions and such. So I really, really like that. And that's kind of the main things. And then events, Comic-Cons, conventions, appearances. Yeah. So those, I'm kind of on a California tour right now, which is fun. So I'm driving anywhere from like 30 minutes to 4 hours to kind of drive around California and meet fans. And I've been really enjoying that.
So if anybody is curious, the reason why I was so excited about Adventurous Ideas, because I'm actually one of the players in the company as well. I have a few hats within the company. I have another podcast with Adventurous Ideas called The Lowdown at the Down Low, and I get to interview all the cast members of the different shows. We've already got one that's going to be that's in final production right now. Hopefully, it'll be available later this year. I'm just going to say. And Extinguished Worlds, when the time comes, I will probably be tapping you on the shoulder for another one. And we'll, but that one is like, it's pre-recorded, it's edited and stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun doing those and just getting to know people and how they thought about the episode and the story and everything. And it is a great story. It's like superheroes, time traveling, robots, monsters, things like that, mysterious islands. It's got so much. And some really good twists in it too. So I'm excited because I get to be one of the superheroes in it too. So I've got a kind of like a role in it as well on this one. So yeah, very exciting. What about your next appearance? Where can people find you after this episode? Where are you going to be at?
So this Saturday, I'm going to be in Livermore, California, at Livermore Valley Arts. Okay. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be in Benicia, and these are both with Ohana Comic-Con.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and folks can find me on Instagram. My handle is at John Charles Morris, all lowercase. Yep. And then also my email is there, johnmorrisvoiceover@gmail.com. You can reach out to me there. I really like to talk with fans, and I respond to messages and I really like that kind of exchange. And then my other upcoming appearances are in Pacifica in August and also King City.
Wow, so many for the just Northern California in general. That's
a lot. Yeah. I'm sort of doing this tour, and it's nice actually to drive because you can only kind of bring so much when you fly. So it's actually nice to have that flexibility.
Brandon says, I know he can't say much, but I'm excited for Toy Story 5. Did you want to say anything about that? Are you excited for Toy Story 5 as well?
I am excited for Toy Story 5 as well. And just to go on record to say the only thing that has been confirmed is that it's coming out in 2026 and that Woody and Buzz will be returning, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, and Andrew Stanton is the director. And so this is what, has been shared out into the world.
Right.
And we'll all stay tuned for the rest all together.
And maybe we'll hear Andy in a flashback or something. Or maybe he'll come back and visit Bonnie or something like that. Who knows, right?
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Anything's possible.
Yes.
You hear that, writers? Get busy.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to brave the line to say something.
Uh-oh. We got...
Something.
I didn't hear all that.
Of course, it
Try
cuts
again.
out right when I tried to do it.
Of course. Try again.
Okay, I'm trying to brave the lag to say something. Okay. So has it been an experience in being that you portraying the character of Andy has been, for people of my generation, because I'm ish, has been a hallmark of what people of that generation are? I know that like everybody I know when Toy Story 3 came out was like, this character is like, this is what I can identify with because he grew with me. Do you do you hear that a lot?
Yes. Great question. Great comment. Yes. What happens quite often at events where I'm meeting fans is it's actually multi-generational. So there will be two adults in their 30s or 40s, and they have kids that are now watching the Toy Story movies. And then sometimes their parents are there. So it's 3 generations, and they all have watched the Toy Story movies, and they're watching the Toy Story movies. And oftentimes those parents in their 30s and 40s are looking at me, sometimes with tears in their eyes, saying, this is my childhood. This represents my childhood. And I grew up with Andy, and and it's very meaningful for me, and to have that connection with them and to hear, what Andy has meant to them, what the films have meant to them. And then oftentimes their kids are watching them constantly. And so it's like, what more could you want, for people to just kind of keep watching them and rediscovering them, so I just feel really grateful and honored and, happy about it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well said. That's awesome. Yeah. I think that one can be like a timeless story because of, I mean, yes, it doesn't really, the movie really doesn't have anything that relates to things that take place within a certain decade. So it's just, it can be for pretty much any generation. And it's not just that, it's just like, it also kind of showcased the different dynamics of children because, you saw kids that were, like really kind and supportive and, sharing and stuff. And then there was Sid, the kid that nobody wanted to be around and blows things up and everything. And I knew kids like that growing up. They got toys, they played with them, and they played hard with them. Almost to the point where it's like, why did you even buy this to begin with?
Yes, and sometimes I see some Sid shirts. Sometimes some Sid fans come up, and we have a kind of funny moment. They're like, "Oh, you're Andy. You're the nice one." Yes,
yeah. He's a popular character. I mean, he was actually there was a person playing him at Pixar Fest at California Adventure.
Yeah,
and he did a phenomenal job emoting him too.
Yes, and it's also interesting, that he lives right next door to Andy. And, some people have different theories about like, were they friends? Did they know each other? It's very interesting because they never interface, in the movie, but they do represent 2 different kinds of kids. And it's just interesting to kind of see.
Yeah. And then of course you've got all the other kids at like Pizza Planet that are just, eating pizza, drinking caffeine and soda and running amok like kids do. But I mean, that's what kids are supposed to do at those kind of places, right? I mean, I've been to Chuck E. Cheese for crying out loud. I know what it's like.
Yes, exactly.
I was one of those kids at Chuck E. Cheese, even in the 80s when they actually had real video games instead of the the token sucking, ticket giving ones they have today.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, we got one more question from Brandon, then I'm going to have to kind of cut it off because we're almost at the end of our hour here. He says, aside from the ending of Toy Story 3, what other scene did you feel emotional in the movies?
Good question. You know, I think whenever Andy was kind of sad, that kind of tugged at my heartstrings too. Like when Woody's arm ripped, and when he couldn't find Woody and he couldn't find Buzz, and I think that absolutely the most emotional scene, for me recording was the final scene of Toy Story 3. But you just whenever he was kind of missing them or longing for them or sad about them, I think is when I felt that as well. And I think it was really, again, just kind of going back to the beginning and when I was talking about how I got the role of Andy and playing in my room for hours and such. I experienced that too. It's like, oh no, this broke. Like this just broke, and I didn't mean to break it, and now I'm sad, so I could kind of tap into that feeling, and kind of knew that firsthand myself playing with all my toys.
I think for me it was the when they started showing Jesse's backstory in a flashback in Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
And, it was like that When She Loved Me song comes on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
Sung by Sarah McLachlan. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like,
Yeah.
They could not have painted a more perfect picture for her backstory. It was so touching, but so sad, but
Yeah.
also so revealing too. It's like it kind of carried the story forward at that point, and you understood the motivation of why they want to, just be where they are or go where they're going. So
yeah.
Very, very
And
touching.
I can speak to that a little bit because the little brown bear I have on the side of my my little side table.
The little stuff.
I've
Yeah,
had
it's like
that
almost
bear.
like a teddy bear.
Yeah, I've had that bear since I was 3.
Oh.
And I mean, he has been through everything in my life, right?
Yeah.
And he has the original beans, his original eyes, everything. Because
Mm-hmm.
I loved him, but I cared about him so much I didn't want him to get messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my cousin also got the same teddy bear, but his teddy bear, it was a boy. His teddy bear, his mom had to like re-sew the chest and buy new material, and none of the beans were in there. And we used to argue, even as adults. He would say, you didn't love yours enough. I loved mine a lot. That's why it had to be replaced.
That was your Sid. That was your Sid.
Right.
Yeah.
It's exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. So I get that whole, like, I don't know what I would do if I didn't still have that around for me to just kind of look over and see it there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. That connection you forged at age 3 is still present. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, John, thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to have to go for a wrap here because we're at the end of our hour, but I do appreciate everything that you've done here for us today. You've brought some magic back to the show and those watching, and hopefully those who are going to be listening. And thanks for sharing your Toy Story, with all of us to kind of just give us some insight to how it all happened. And I hope you all enjoyed this. And of course, I want to thank my co-hosts as usual. Thank you, ladies, for being so engaging, and our audience for asking the questions and coming back for more. It's been a pleasure. Hope maybe we can have you get back again sometime. Who knows?
That sounds great. This has been so wonderful. Thank you for having me. And gosh, this hour just flew by. I can't believe it.
I know. That is kind of a running theme with this show. I mean, I start asking questions and then we just sort of start getting into just regular conversation and stuff. And then before you know it, it's like, what happened? I blinked my eyes and we're at the end of the hour already.
Right.
But you know what? That tells me that we're doing something right because we're having a good time and hopefully everybody else is having a good time with us.
Yeah. Maybe we should record a future episode at Disneyland.
Oh my gosh.
That would be awesome.
Please, let's do it. An episode with John Morris at California Adventures in front of Midway Mania. where the
Oh
Toy
my
Story
gosh.
characters
That could be
are.
fun. That could be
Oh
fun.
my gosh, I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills. I got goosebumps. It's
Oh, no.
happening. It's live. It's real. Yeah.
Mimi's like, I'm flying in.
I know, like we're all in. Let's get our plane tickets today.
I'm on my way right now.
I know. I'll start walking. All right, guys. Well, that's all we got for today's episode. Thanks again, John. Thanks again, Mimi and Lisa, and everybody who's listening. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to know more about our upcoming guests,
Guys.
or you want to learn more about Main Gate Magic, please go and find us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and also Facebook at Main Gate Magic. We're the only ones on there. And we are also available to listen to the audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Index, and Amazon Music. I believe I've covered them all.
And don't forget
Thanks.
to visit our Etsy store, please.
Oh, yes, the Etsy store, please. I need you
Ooh.
guys to check out the t-shirts. Main Gate Magic on Etsy. There are like 10 designs there, and I'm still waiting for one sale. I know it's going to happen. I'm positive it's going to happen. Who's going to be the first? I know you're listening, and you're going to be the first one out there. So go check it out, and we'll see you guys on the next one. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.